It's time for the Drugless Doctor. Call a friend or family member now and let them benefit from today's exciting and life-changing program. If you want to lead a healthier life, the time is now.
Hello, this is Dr. Bob, Dr. Anthony, and Dr. Kaysen DeMaria. I'd like to welcome you once again to another episode of the Drugless Doctor. One of the areas of human existence that I have noticed in America today is that people are totally confused when it comes to cholesterol. Back in around 2005, I released a book, Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide. We'll have a picture of the cover for you on the screen. In that book, we talked about cholesterol, and I've known all along, basically my entire life, and we learn about this in school, cholesterol is important. And I think when people go back in history and analyze what's going on right now in the last 20 or 30 years, the pharmaceutical companies have literally pulled the wool over individuals' eyes. And when I wrote the book, I have known since the early 1980s that when they developed trans fat or partially hydrogenated oils, that it was going to alter normal metabolism in the body. So I'm kind of chuckling to myself right now because they told people for years to eat margarine and not eat butter, to eat egg beaters and not eat eggs. And then more recently, you'll see they reversed all that. Now it's okay to eat eggs, and butter is better than margarine. So they're confused. And they'll always be confused because, without being silly, it's called follow the money. So the cholesterol industry, just for one drug company alone, is over $19 billion. So if by chance they make a mistake with the drug and something happens to somebody and they get fined $2 billion, guess what? They don't really care because they just made $15 to $17 billion in profit. So I'm going to have a picture of a chart on the screen for you right now. This is a cholesterol chart. Now, this happens to be in Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Balancing Female Hormones and Dr. Bob's Men's Health, The Basics. I want you to look at the top of the chart. In the top of the chart, it has cholesterol. Cholesterol goes to something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone, if you look going off to the right, becomes progesterone, and progesterone goes down to be cortisone. I want you to think of cortisone as the water that a fireman uses to put out the fire. So if you have a lot of inflammation going on in your body, which is literally fire, your body has to make more cortisone to put the fire out. This is really key what I'm going to share with you right now, so I really want you to put your thinking cap on. If your adrenal gland, which makes cortisone, does not have enough nutrients to make the cortisone, the adrenal gland literally goes, brain, yes, adrenal glands, I need more cortisone. So what does the brain do? It makes cholesterol. Why? Cholesterol is the basic building block for all the steroids in your body. So cholesterol becomes pregnenolone, which becomes progesterone, which goes down to become cortisone. So I want you to think of cholesterol as a fireman. What do firemen do? They put out fires. So in the human body, cholesterol cannot float in blood. It has to be transported. What's it being transported on? Fire trucks. The name of the fire truck that we're going to, for the purpose of this conversation, is the LDL truck. What does the LDL truck do? Takes the fireman to the fire. The HDL fire truck takes the firemen back to the firehouse. So let's just say for whatever reason you're not feeling really good and you have had a lot of pain in your body, your diet has not been as good as it could be, and you have inflammation. So from now what I just told you in my Chemistry 101 class, if you have inflammation in your body, that means the firemen are getting on the truck that's going to the fire. That happens to be the LDL truck. So you're not feeling good, you go to see a healthcare provider, they do some blood tests, and your LDL is elevated. He goes, oh my gosh, we have to do something. So what's he do? He gives you a medication. He gives you a statin drug. What does the statin drug do? The statin drug literally, how you like that, shoots the fireman on the way to the fire. So what does that mean, Dr. Bob? That means you needed that cholesterol, you needed that to put the fire out. So when they shot the fireman on the way to the fire, they took cholesterol out of your body, and now all of a sudden you have bad effects. What are the bad effects from? The bad effects are from the fact you took the cholesterol out of what they're supposed to do, so now you have pain. Now you have hormonal issues. You have low libido. You could have Parkinson's shakes. You could have optic strokes. All of that because it's a side effect of a statin drug. Here's my question that I'm going to ask you that nobody ever really takes the time to ask. Here's the question. What causes the fire? If you could stop the cause of the fire, you're going to be able to help lower your cholesterol naturally. Trans fatty acid or margarine interrupts your body's ability to make the good oil that puts the fire out. So if you're still eating ho-hos and eating food that has trans fat or partially hydrogenated oils in it, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. So you may consider coming back and watching this all over again and or purchasing Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide, because if you're taking a cholesterol medication, which Dr. Anthony is going to give you some statistics about, you are making possibly a wrong choice. Dr. Anthony.
You know, it's so funny. You always like to anchor is what are a group of chiropractors talking about cholesterol for? Well, you know what? It has to do with our philosophy. Our philosophy is that our bodies heal themselves. They just need the right circumstances. So if you have elevated cholesterol, you don't have the right circumstances in your body. So talking about this information is really, really important. The reason being is once we get into a conversation with somebody about eggs or butter, they always have the deer in the headlight look because they've been misinformed. You've been getting faulty information since 1965. It is in the late teens of the 2000s, and it's important that you get up to date with your information. Margarine is not good. Butter, organic butter is good. All the egg is good. Yes, there is cholesterol that is in an egg. Scientists show in research that if you eat the full egg, your HDL goes up. That's good cholesterol. Other things that cause HDL to go up is exercise. You want to make sure that you're exercising. It's really important that you have fat. So in the 1960s and early 70s, the big craze was get rid of all the fat and it's going to stop heart disease. Well, guess what? They were wrong. They were so wrong that when you look at the stats and the charts, that they sent the American public into a crazy downward spiral that we're still trying to correct. An increase of diabetes and a bunch of other challenges started to happen. Now, what's really great is there was a study with over 200,000 people with heart disease. Then what they found is that LDL, which is supposedly bad cholesterol, was normal with those people. So if LDL was really the culprit, wouldn't all these people have crazy high LDL? No, this 200,000 person study found that they had normal levels of LDL. So cholesterol is not the bad guy. It's the source of the inflammation that we already talked about with Dr. Bob. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the research. Well, what do you mean the research? Well, anytime a research study comes out, you have to ask some questions. One, who funded the research study? If a pharmaceutical company is funding a research study, it's not a good thing because they are twisting the outcome. So you could look this up. This next thing I'm going to tell you, it's on the internet. It's called the Jupiter study. The Jupiter study came out in 2008, and it was for a drug that you've probably seen commercials for called Crestor. Now, there was about 8,900 people that did a drug for under 2 years, and there was 8,900 people that did a placebo for under 2 years. Now, if you know anything about drug studies, you should really have a drug study be at least 3 to 5 years. So this one was only 2 years, and there's 8,900 people in both. So for whatever reason, over the course of those 2 years, 250 people died from the area that people were taking the drug, and about 300 people died from the area that was on the placebo. So what they ended up doing is they looked at comparing 250 to 300 and say that you have a 30% less likely chance of having a fatal incident when you're on a drug. What they didn't tell you is you need to treat over 100 people every single day with a statin medication in order to save one person's life. The risk of taking a statin medication isn't worth the reward. It doesn't prolong your life. It may lower your cholesterol because you shot the fireman on the way to the fire, but it's important because you have so many other bad effects that are taking place right now. Google it. Harmful effects of statin medication, an increase of type 2 diabetes, muscles wasting away, an increased chance of Alzheimer's disease. Is that something that you want to risk when it comes to what's going on in your body? I've been working with an individual over the course of the last year, and one of her goals is to get her blood sugar down. And after monitoring her for a period of time, we, after seeing what was going on, came to the conclusion that when she started her statin medication is when her blood sugar challenges started. So if you're having blood sugar challenges and you're on a statin medication, it's time to talk to your prescribing provider about a different course of action. We've talked about this in the past. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is a definition of insanity. Many of you might be frustrated with your cholesterol levels. Remember a time when cholesterol wasn't an issue? Our whole goal is to get you back to that time and get your life balanced through chiropractic, through diet, through lifestyle changes so that cholesterol is not an issue. Dr. Kaysen, what kind of information you got for us there on cholesterol?
Well, I know Dr. Bob was talking about the firefighter and the fireman and that being shot. I want you also to think about this. Think about it. If you had a faucet and the faucet was running, and it's overflowing onto the floor, and you're trying to pick up all the water on the floor, and the water is still going, what are you forgetting to do? The answer is you forgot to turn the faucet off. What are the faucets in your body that are creating inflammation that we're not getting to the root cause of? This could be foods. It could be chips for you, which has trans fat and canola oil, which causes inflammation. It also could be something like this. Peanut butter, and some of you are passionately addicted to peanut butter, and you think that you're eating it, which is really good for protein. So rather than peanut butter, we would recommend something like almond butter, and we're going to talk about some strategies and some solutions for you. Is it a statin medication for you that you could be taking, and Dr. Anthony was sharing, that's causing diabetes or memory challenges or muscle challenges that all have bad effects and side effects? Where's the research coming from, and who is funding this research? We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back, and we're going to give you some solutions for your cholesterol challenges.
I'm a chiropractor because my goal, my passion is to help people get better without medication.
There's different types of chiropractic. I wanted to be involved in something that was bigger than myself.
I would say it's been so much more than just seeing those lives transform. It's been being able to be a part of their transformation.
Wellness is a state of mental, social, and physical well-being.
Really, wellness is from the inside out, being able to have your body make the decisions on its own, naturally, without drugs, medications, or surgeries.
We work and strive at addressing each one of those different facets of wellness so that it's really a well-rounded overall approach for an individual.
I think the atmosphere is really very welcoming. I think all three really work well together as a team.
It's much more than you would find somewhere else. The individuality of it, the recommendations, the doctor's expertise.
We do not use a cookie cutter plan. Every person that comes into our office is very unique, and they have specific plans and treatment protocols specific for their findings.
Utilizing our innovative tools and technology, we're able to get the best results and faster, and it's really easy on the practice member, specifically with the thermal scans that we do. By measuring the ambient skin temperature, we're able to measure from each assessment how the pattern's changing.
We offer digital video fluoroscopy, motion films of a person's spine, getting right to the root cause.
From someone that was previously diagnosed with ADHD and was having developmental delays in speech, working with them here and seeing the transformation of them developmentally, other things, attention span, energy, colic, all these things that are improving over a period of time.
So whether it's a little baby that's getting adjusted for the first time or a mom that's getting adjusted, or an athlete. It's really cool to see what we're able to do and how that can impact their life for the long term.
The two things, chiropractic care and nutrition, go hand in hand, and you really need both components. You can't just say, I'll do whatever I want nutritionally and then just have chiropractic care and Dr. Bob will just fix me. Really, you have to have both going together.
In our wellness store, we offer a variety of different products. They're all professional lines and products that are tried and true. We have many different types of evaluations and assessments that can tell us what supplement is going to be best for one of our practice members here in the office, so that we're just not throwing the dice when it comes to their health.
The Drugless Doctors is very forward-thinking. It's a lot different than anything else that I had ever seen before, so I felt like I was learning something new.
We have information on social media, our website, our blog. We do TV programs, so we're always putting out good quality information, because more often than not I hear from somebody, I never knew that, or I got that information from a magazine or a TV program and I never really knew that that wasn't correct.
So being able to give them simple tools and natural principles that they can be able to empower themselves to make every day, that's really, it's really exciting for me to be able to see people and their changed lifestyles.
Come and join us and participate with natural drugless chiropractic care. Hello, this is Dr. Bob, Dr. Anthony, and Dr. Casey DeMaria. Welcome once again to another episode, the continuation of The Drugless Doctor. So what we have been talking about so far is the cholesterol holocaust. So many people are going down this path of destruction, and the people at the other end are happy and they're just counting the dollars as they go. And I'm being very serious about that. All you have to do is do a little research on it yourself. And I have so many practice members that come in today that are taking a variety of products and they're lowered their cholesterol naturally. A side note is that we have also seen individuals who have subpar thyroid function. I'll say that again. Individuals with subpar thyroid function also could have elevated cholesterol. And some of the body signals for subpar thyroid function are cold hands and cold feet, waking up with headache in the morning, constipation, fatigue, dry skin, thinning of the eyebrows, thinning of the hair, coarse hair. Those are some body signals. If you have those and your cholesterol is up, could be a low thyroid. Another area, and that I want to just pass on to, that just information we learned along the way, is if your cholesterol, so pay attention now, if your cholesterol is elevated and your triglycerides, which are blood fat, are normal, your cholesterol is probably up because of stress. So I'll say that again. If your cholesterol is up and your triglycerides are normal, your cholesterol is probably up because of stress. If your cholesterol is up and your triglycerides are up, you have your hand in the cookie jar. And you could take statin drugs all day long. You got to get your hand out of the cookie jar. Go back to the first segment and go back to what I talked about, the cholesterol and the cortisone. Dr. Kaysen talked about chips. I want to share something with chips. Anytime I go to an event, and it's a wellness event, they always have these oven Lay's potato chips. It is nothing against Lay's potato chips. It's just called reading the ingredients. I would rather have you eat classic Lay's with good oil than this. This is like eating a candy bar with salt on it. These are not healthy. So you just have to say nothing. Just put the bag down and choose not to participate with. There's always going to be collateral damage. Dr. Anthony.
I want to go back to the drug study we were talking about earlier. What I failed to mention was the year after that study came out in 2008, that company that put that medication out made over $1 billion more on that medication because of comparing those numbers, which they shouldn't have been comparing. It should have been comparing to the whole. So it's really important that you do your own research and you don't just go by what the drug companies are telling you. Now let's talk about a sequela, which is a fancy word for a series of unfortunate events that takes place when you have a statin medication. So ladies, I want you to listen. Men, you're going to want to listen to this too. If you have a statin medication, it robs your body of magnesium. So guess what magnesium is important for? Your heart. So now you're on a statin medication and you have blood pressure issues and they put you on blood pressure pills. Well, guess what the sequela is of being on statin medication and blood pressure medication? You can't get an erection. So your eyes just went like this. Yeah, I just said it. If you have an inability to obtain erection, a blue pill is not going to save you. It's getting rid of the statin medication and the blood pressure pill, which is leaching your body of the nutrients that you need in order to obtain erection. So if you're a lady, you should hit your husband. If you're a husband, you should get your eyes up and make sure that you're listening to what we're talking about, because we want you to have the ability to use all your parts like you were intended to. Now, let's talk about the oils that you should be using in your life. Olive oil, coconut oil, organic butter. I had somebody else talk to me, when it comes to cooking, those are the only oils that you should be utilizing when it comes to cooking. When they said, well, what about this oil, and what about that oil, and what about this oil? And I said, if it's not olive oil, coconut oil, or organic butter, don't use it. Well, what about this oil? If it's not organic, olive oil, coconut oil, or butter, don't use it. Now, when it comes to supplementing with dietary oils, we'd encourage you to use something like a tablespoon per 100 pounds of flax oil. Or you could use flax oil capsules. I'd encourage you to do about 3 flax oil capsules every single day. Another type of oil that we could have someone utilize is to do a fish oil. Now, the great thing about the fish oil that we utilize, it's from anchovies and sardines. Now, that's really important because I have people and they'll say, well, what about krill oil? What about this fish oil? One of the best things about Biotics Research Corporation and Omega Nutrition is it's for professionals. Well, what do you mean, Dr. Anthony? Only professionals have a license to sell Biotics Research Corporation products. So if you're getting something that's not from a professional, I'd encourage you to try a different product line, because I have so many people and they're doing Dr. Joy Bob's blend of oil or something that isn't what you want to. You just want to have a trusted source, a professional line of oils like a flax oil, a fish oil, or an optimal EFA, because those are going to be really important to have good oils. Other oils that you absolutely want to make sure that you avoid: vegetable oil, canola oil, all forms of trans fat, soybean oil. You really, really want to stay away from those because they're going to create inflammation in your body. Dr. Kaysen, what do you got for us?
One of my also favorite oils is coconut oil, and you want to be using a cold-pressed organic coconut oil, and this is excellent for brain function. If there's anyone out there that they want to work on memory and also with weight loss, you want to working on incorporating these healthy oils, but especially coconut oil. You could be doing 4 to 6 tablespoons every day, which is a medium chain fatty acid, and that feeds your brain and your nervous system, and it also helps with your skin. Women and men out there, and we were talking about skin dryness and other challenges that could be going on. There are so many uses for coconut oil. You could use it for skin, but also for other products, and just look up homemade products. You want to remember that anything you put in or on your body has to process, and increasing your cholesterol, which we're talking about, but also fat in your body, it's a protective mechanism. So your body is so intelligent that it's creating extra fat to help to protect the organs and the tissues from other toxins that could be going on. So we want to get to the root cause. And I can share with you, it's not the eggs that is causing this increase in your cholesterol. It's some of the other items that you could be doing on the inside that you don't even realize has bad effects to your body. Dr.